I'm delighted to have a debate about how we both broaden and deepen our education system. We cannot be in any doubt that while reform accelerates across the globe, no country can afford to be left behind. That was Michael Gove this morning, curiously enough. And thank you for your tweets. I found them reaffirming. You know. So one here says, I feel his pain, poor old Gruesome. You know. Curiously, I also started teaching a 14 to 18 boys' school in East London, and also inherited a class of children. And many of you will know this from, I've told this story often enough on video, but inherited a class of kids who'd been, by some trick of the timetable, they'd been put into an O-level economics class. That was the only exam they were doing, any of them. And I picked them up at the Easter of their first year. So they'd done 2 terms of 5 terms. And they, like your lot really, they knew nothing. They just knew nothing. And on the other hand, I didn't know how to teach. I'd come straight into teaching with a degree, didn't have a PGC. I did that later. And I said to them, look, chaps, you know, you don't know anything, do you? And they said, nope. I said, but I really know this subject. I can get you through the O-level easy peasy, but I don't know how to teach. So here's the deal. 5 minutes at the beginning of each lesson, I want you to come and give me top tips of what you've seen from other teachers around the school. And and I'll get you through. And each day they'd come in and they'd say, we've been watching Arthur Harvey. He's awesome. You've got to try this. When he gets cross, he gets quiet. It's fantastic. They said we've been looking at Minnie Norris, who was about 110. You know. And they said we've watched her for a fortnight. We don't know what it is, but when you get near, it's like a force field. You just have to be good. You know? We'll work it out, but we haven't got it yet. You know. At the end of the year, all but one passed the O-level. It was a single exam, and they went away. And of course, it's that reflective practice, it's that engagement. It's not ever, ever, ever conflict that builds great learning. And where do we go with our understanding of this, this collective understanding you've got? You've seen so many successful projects. You've seen so much that works. You've seen so many effective and spectacular, stellar bursts of progress from children who are given an opportunity to learn in a new way. Where do we go with that? What do we do with that? And that's what I wanted to reflect on the little bit of time we've got together. Look, I was in Melbourne earlier. You all know that Be Very Afraid event we've been running in London for 10 years. We ran it in Melbourne this year. This is a group of children, primary age children, who'd set themselves the task, and you know the way Be Very Afraid works, they just come along and strut their stuff, show off just how spectacular their learning's being. Hard subject knowledge, but applied. And this lot had decided they were going to teach themselves to play musical instruments in a month. They thought that they'd perform 3 songs on the day, and they did it all from the internet. They logged on, went to YouTube videos, goodness knows what else. And I took this photograph at the rehearsal the day before. I thought, flipping good chaps, you're getting really good. The girls were awesome, the boys were brilliant. I was just impressed. And they said, oh, hang on a minute, let's go back to let's show you how good we are on the instruments we've learned. We're borrowing each other's here. So they put down the keyboard and went back to their guitar and swapped over. And they were absolutely awesome. One of the things we've learned in all this, all of us, is that when we get the conditions right, children's progress is not just incremental, it's stellar, it's spectacular. What do we do with that progress? What do we do with that opportunity? Well, one thing we do is to keep up with the world, of course, and Michael's right in all that. But let's have a little think. You know, in your lifetime, in my lifetime, Graham's lifetime even, you know, going back that far, you know, the big things, a lot of them being technology-based, you know, in big economic terms, with hardware, first with IBM and ICL and so on. That was followed by software. And once you'd got hardware and software running on it, you wanted to put stuff in places where you could find it. And along came databases, and there's Larry Ellison, 4th richest man in the world. Goodness knows I get to sail on his boat. And once you'd got that stuff in the databases, you wanted to look for it, of course, and there was Google, or if you're searching and you're under 14, YouTube, because that's their search engine of preference. And once you could find stuff, you wanted to talk to people about it, and those social conduits that we're all familiar with appeared with Facebook and Twitter, and thank goodness for Twitter today. But what's the next big thing going to be? You know what the next big thing is going to be. It's going to be learning. You know that once you've got the hardware and the software's running on it, you can find stuff and you can socialize and work with it. You naturally lead to a model of learning. So the next big thing will be learning. The next Google, the next Facebook, the next Microsoft will be a learning organization. What will it look like? You know, will it be a big company? Will it be? For sure, it won't be the schools we've got now. For sure, it won't be the universities we've got now. For sure, it won't be the model of learning we've got now. And I've been just enjoying, by the way, on the Twitter stream, the debate you're all running on what good things have come out of the 19th century. I think we haven't even got to toilet paper yet, so clearly we're a decade into the 21st century. If you're 9, it's the only place you've ever been. So what's it going to look like? Well, we've got some certainties in all this. One of the certainties is that the gains can be unexpected and they can come from different places. Look, you've all seen, I think, Planet Read. Not Planet Read, you know, over in India, they subtitle Bollywood movies. And this is SLS, it's the same language subtitling, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. You subtitle the movie in the same language that it's in, and somehow by a process of osmosis, people, by watching the songs and watching the movie, learn to read. Spectacularly so. You've all seen Prof. Meacher's work, his hole-in-the-wall stuff in India and his nanny cloud and so on. If we're serious about moving children forward with learning, we've got to look a lot further than just the factory schools of our history. We've got to think about all the strategies, all the opportunities, all the things that can be brought to bear. And sometimes that's counterintuitive. If we had time, we'd talk about superclasses. But if you haven't seen superclasses, 3 teachers teaching a class of 90 children, or one's leading the class, one's facilitating and broadening and stretching, and another one's picking up the remedial repair work, you know that 3 teachers working in parallel can go substantially faster. The data's on the page than 3 teachers working in serial in their own spaces. Kids are doing 5 terms work in 3 terms in super classes. I was in New Line Academy the other day. Oh, actually, I was in the one in Dartford. And the head girl there said to me, I said, you're off to university? She said, yeah, my learning was saved by super classes. I was a duffer at maths. It's only when we got into a class of 60 kids that I got the personal support I needed to be able to repair my maths and move forward. So a lot of this stuff's counterintuitive. I wouldn't have expected to stand up and be arguing for huge classes, but they work. And what we've got to look at is everything that works, including subtitling movies, and we've got to hurtle forward with all that. What we know is that we're not going to do that with preparation like this. These are rather jolly. This is the longest corridor I've ever come across in Britain. And you know, if you want to move children around in a corridor-like way, you know that all the trouble in London schools, every stabbing in a London school is taking place in a corridor, a stairwell or a door. So if you want to build trouble into a school, build corridor. This is a teacher training college. We've got teacher training colleges that think, oh, of course, you know, where else? You know, we've got people that think they could prepare teachers for the 21st century, for the 3rd millennium, with a group of seminars and lectures and essay papers. They can't. Don't think anybody should be allowed near teacher training unless they've got the best school in their part of the world that's just spectacularly good. If they can't make a school spectacularly good, what are they doing training teachers? And here's another I love this. This was this was in a school in Chicago, and I took the photograph last year, and I got all excited. Oh, they've got a room, a 21st century room. I wonder what it's like. You know, bearing in mind it's where we are, you know. So I went into the room, which of course was empty. There was nobody there. You know. So I never did get to find out what 21st century was like. But we've got to do more than tokenism. Just having a badge over a door in an empty room. And here's, I won't name this university. I don't want to embarrass Birmingham. But but look, here's their innovation room, room 253, with a timetable for innovation. You know, look, I'm sorry, your timetable to innovate on a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Good luck, you know. And look at the furniture. It makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, doesn't it? It's like, whoa. It is the 3rd millennium, and make no mistake. Listen, we're not going to move all this forward with tokenism. We've really got to grasp the thing and move forward in a spectacular way. And we've got some opportunities. Here's Michael Gove speaking 2010. You can read this for yourself. But it's a proper political commitment to let go. And what he's talking about is, just imagine it within walking distance of your front door. Well, you can see the bit in yellow. You don't need me to read it to you. It's a proper clarion call to let's see if we can't re-engineer education and do it differently. Now, of course, that was Michael then. This is Michael now. And, he's been captured a little bit, I think, by some form of collective madness. I don't know. This is the English matriculation. It's not a baccalaureate, it is a matriculation. It's curious, isn't it? Because it's going to be a reversal of league tables. You would be ashamed to be at the top of that league table, wouldn't you? You would be exposing yourself to accusations of child abuse, I would have thought, if you force Latin and Hebrew on your children at the expense of a second modern language or whatever. But what's the alternative? And the alternative, surely, is that we can do better. You know that the impact of technology on all this has been a bottom-up impact. You know that, for example, that this happens. You know that it is that simple. People plus technology breaks cartels. The cinema industry knows it. The music industry knows it. Every damn cartel built in the last century knows it. And don't doubt that education isn't a cartel that will be broken by people and technology. It will be. What will the alternative be? Will it be home education? Will it be literally, as Michael described there, will it be a school at the end of every road, that you just walk down to with 15 kids? The school I'm building in Portland, if it all gets signed off finally, and it's a 0 to 21 school. You go in as a baby, you don't leave until you graduate at the end. You live in home bases, about 300 children, properly, passionately committed, 24/7 to learning, with teachers that that stay with you for life. I mean, all the values that were the best bits of your learning and all the values that are the best bits of future learning. You know that the alternatives can be fabulous and stellar. The question for us is it too hard work? Is reforming what's there? I mean, look what China are saying to themselves, and I'm sorry there's a heap of text there, but you can just struggle through it. 2 minutes or was one? 2, thank you. You can see what China's doing. It's been off down a route of chasing after Pisa. It said, woohoo, we're top now. They said, oh, blimey. Line up the top 5 Pisa nations in the world and line up the top 5 problems in the world, and you'll find there's no solution from one to the other. The top Pisa nations are not solving the problems. And this is absolutely at the heart of it. What technology has done to our lives is to fill them full of surprises. People and technology push the margins of what can be done. We couldn't before drill oil that deep. We didn't before have that many planes in the air. We didn't before have so many people committed to a financial system. People plus technology pushes the margins, and the result is unexpected, sometimes chaos, volcanic ash, undersea oil spillage, economic collapse. Now, that's a world that our children are going to that is full of surprises. We won't prepare them for it with a met before curriculum. We won't prepare them for it with a curriculum that says, turn over the exam paper, I hope there's no surprises. And the teachers are in the corridor outside saying, I hope I've prepared them for everything. There is no way in this world we can be prepared for everything except to be prepared for the certainty of uncertainty, for the constancy of change, and for surprise and shock. What your lives have been with technology and learning has been a joy of surprise. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. The reason you're in the vanguard of this, the reason you're leading the nation in terms of making real change happen, is because of that surprise. Now, somehow, we need to harness that surprise and put it into the curriculum. And, why wouldn't we start at the simplest point together of crowdsourcing a set of league tables? Why wouldn't we build a proper set of league tables that took account of well-being, it took account of employability, it took account of ingenuity, took account of the things that to matter? Why can't we do this better? And the challenge for us, and the challenge you were given in that opening talk, which created a straw man of unrecognizable claims for technology and new learning, the reason that was possible was because we have not articulated clearly enough ourselves how good all this might be. Now, it matters. It really, really matters, all this, for one really big reason. The big reason is here. There's a bunch of kids in Liberia. In Liberia, 25% of the population, only 25% of the population are over 25, and of the 75% that are under 25, 3/4 are in gun-carrying militias. Now, those kids will put down their guns. They will come into school. They will sit down and they'll learn. But after a term or two, they'll say, okay, I put my gun down. When I had my gun, I could have everything I wanted. I could eat what I liked. I could live where I liked. I could sleep with who I liked. I put my gun down. You've given me learning. What have I got? If we haven't got better answers than, well, tell you what, Chief, you've got no level in Latin. If we haven't got better answers than that, they pick up the guns and they go straight back out again. This is your chance to mend the world with learning. The world is broken. You know you can inoculate people against poverty with learning. You know that you can heal conflict with learning. What you've got to do now is mend the world with it. And that's what you're here for. That's what this generation does. You have that chance, and you know now how important your voice is. Make it loud, make it heard. Thank you very much.